Today, we've got somebody who has actually worked for Amazon advertising and now works at PackView and has helped sellers who generate millions of dollars of revenue on advertising. And he's going to give us some high-level strategies for high-level e-commerce sellers out there. How cool is that? Pretty cool, I think. Want to enter in an Amazon keyword and then within seconds get up to thousands of potentially related keywords that you could research? Then you need Magnet by Helium 10. For more information, go to h10.me/magnet. Magnet works in most Amazon marketplaces, including USA, Mexico, Australia, Germany, UK, India, and much more. Hello, everybody, and welcome to another episode of the Serious Sellers Podcast by Helium 10. I am your host, Bradley Sutton, and this is the show that's a completely BS-free, unscripted, and unrehearsed organic conversation about serious strategies for serious sellers of any level in the e-commerce world. We've got somebody that I know almost nothing about. I don't know if he's a serious seller, or if he's a seller at all, or he just works in the industry or whatever. But welcome to the show for the first time, Cameron. How's it going?
It's going great. Thanks for having me.
Where are you located?
I'm actually located just a bit north of Seattle, maybe about 20 minutes or so.
Is that where you're from?
That's where born and raised, yeah. Grew up for a few years, actually in downtown Seattle, and then moved out into the suburbs. But other than going to college at Washington State University, then coming back, it's
Cougars?
been in this area the whole time. Go Cougars, yeah.
All right, there we go. What did you study? What was your major?
So it was not communications, it was not marketing or business, it was political science.
Oh yeah, you know that can just get so many great jobs in the in the initial. But what was your goal with that? Like what kind of job were you looking for to get with that degree?
Yeah, so before I kind of got into the corporate world, I actually served in the Army National Guard, and the whole point, my thought process around it was to get a better understanding of the world. It was political science with a focus on international relations, and the goal was to create more of a career there. But things changed. Started to build a career in the corporate world. Met my now wife, who probably would have had a little bit of an issue with me being a career military person, and so plans changed. But that was the original goal.
Okay. And then but what was like your first big time or regular full time income, after university?
Yeah, I actually started out in the like a lot of recent grads in the recruiting world, and so I was an account manager for a company called Collabora, one of the bigger companies like Apex or Tech Systems doing recruiting, a lot of tech recruiting, and had one account. That account was Amazon.
If you're going to have one account, that's a good account to have.
In the Seattle area, there's a few, Microsoft as well. Amazon, they do quite a bit of hiring, as people know. So did a couple years there, and then kind of took a natural path to Amazon itself, where I worked at Amazon Ads for a while.
Oh, you worked for Amazon?
Yep, went from Collabora and then to Amazon Ads, and that's where I started this whole e-commerce.
So you were helping them with the recruiting, and then you basically recruited yourself over there too.
It makes it a lot easier to get through interviews if you've been prepping people for interviews for a couple of years.
There you go. That's one way to get in the door at Amazon. Yeah. Very, very nice. Yeah. And so what did you do with Amazon Ads?
So I was an account executive there. I went through their account executive training program that they have, and that's still ongoing. Really great training program. It helps a lot of people go from not much e-commerce or e-commerce marketing experience. It gives them a really good foundation to build on their experience and help brands sell on Amazon. A lot of brands that do sell on Amazon, big, medium, small, have probably had some sort of interaction with Amazon account executives, helping them to kind of formulate strategy and build their business. And that's where I got exposed to just a ton of different brands, different categories, different goals. Really great way to help me understand, what brands see on a daily basis and what they go through with building their business on Amazon.
Now nowadays, you're still in the Amazon advertising space. You work for PackView. How long have you worked at PackView?
I have worked at PackView for just over 6 months now, so still pretty recent to the PackView ecosystem, but it's been a great 6 months for sure.
Now, here's something that I'm curious about. It's just kind of dumb that I don't know the answer offhand, since PackView is our sister company, but PackView is also connecting to Vendor Central accounts, and you're managing vendor people who have vendor accounts as opposed to Seller Central accounts as well.
So yeah, PackView has a lot of a really great ability to sync up with the retail side of the business and coordinate that and interact with the marketing side of the business through a tool like PackView Commerce as well. So I think in the past we've had a really robust tool for managing advertising, and not just on Amazon, of course, but on other platforms as well. Managing that advertising, making it effective, efficient, driving really good volume in terms of sales orders, what have you. Recently we've been able to build a really great retail tool that both helps you manage that business and also, really importantly, helps coordinate that business with the marketing so they work in sync and allow you to manage and be more efficient overall.
Now, I don't know too much about Vendor Central accounts. I've never had one. I've never dug in. I've never even logged into one. But as far as advertising, let's just say somebody's not using Helium 10, not using PackView, that they just have access to their Vendor Central account. Do they fully control their advertising too? I know with some things in Vendor Central you don't have as much control over, but on the advertising side, how different is the Vendor Central advertising experience compared to the Seller Central advertising experience if we're not talking about tools?
It's going to be it's going to be extremely similar. There may be some small differences in terms of maybe attribution windows for different ad types, or some different functionalities. Sometimes they may have an update for the vendor side before they have an update for the seller side, vice versa. But in terms of that user experience, that brand going in and running their advertising, the experience is going to be hard to tell a difference for, especially if you're doing pretty straightforward things like just running sponsored product, sponsored brand, sponsored display, sponsored brand video. Just running those and getting those to efficiently drive traffic to your products. It's not going to make a difference that much whether you're on seller or vendor based on what your goals are.
Now, I'm not sure if you have an opinion on this or you have enough knowledge about this particular use case, but if you have the experience, do you have an opinion on if somebody is approached, by Amazon to join the vendor program? What would be the factors to decide if it's worth it or not? Some people say, with Vendor, Central, maybe I lose a little bit of control over some things, and then maybe I'm not able to kind of project, too much, and Amazon doesn't take care of the listings or something maybe I've heard of, but you deal with both kinds of customers, and you probably hear complaints and the virtues of each program. But if somebody out there listening to the podcast now, they're a regular Seller Central seller right now, or maybe they're just about to get on Amazon and they're approached by Amazon to join the vendor program. First of all, does that even still happen? And then secondly, under what circumstances should they say yes or no?
Yeah, I'll preface this by saying, for sure, have more experience on the marketing side. Mm-hmm. Between Amazon all the way to PackView, I've worked with both sellers and vendors, and both have had their separate and unique challenges, and oftentimes similar challenges as well. I would say, from my experience working with them, not being as hands-on in terms of setting up those businesses myself, it seems like there is a bit more independence on the seller side. You do have a little bit more control from the vendor side. The barrier of entry is a bit higher, and I would say you do have a little bit less control. That being said, as a business grows, not to say that you can't have, of course, a huge successful business on the seller side of Amazon, but I think there's benefits as your business grows to go the vendor track, as you're shipping higher volume of product, as you're maybe putting a lot more emphasis on the weeks of cover that you have, and a small percentage change can mean a much higher dollar amount loss. Then I think it makes sense. But that being said, I've seen clients that I've worked with struggle on both, be successful on both. Mm-hmm. I think it really comes down to what you're comfortable as a business owner with, and and what's really working for you. I'm a big believer in keeping things as simple as possible.
Yeah.
So if there isn't a need for a change, I don't think that's necessarily needed.
Yeah. Now, one thing that's interesting over the years, back in the day, people who had vendor accounts actually did have more of an advantage over Seller Central in some aspects of advertising and others, like so many tools available to Amazon and so much analytics that wasn't available to sellers or to Seller Central people. It was available to vendors, but Amazon has certainly bridged that gap, lately where they launched stuff that was exclusively to vendors. Now it's available to sellers, or they just launched something across the board. And one of these things recently, in the last few months that Amazon launched was what is it called? The marketing stream, or is that
Amazon Marketing Stream?
Amazon Marketing Stream. So that was launched, and that's something that people have always wondered about day parting. And back in the days, I would just tell people, no, it's dumb. If you're trying to day part, you're dumb. I wouldn't say that to a customer, but in my mind, I was telling them they're idiot, because at the time there was no analytics that could really justify taking a certain action. Like, you have no idea, what time of day you were being profitable. Somebody to try and make the decision, I'm going to turn off my ads during this time, or I'm going to up my budget on this time, it's completely shots in the dark. But now this marketing stream kind of changed that, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And I would say, a similar thing, especially when I was at Amazon, because the difference now in some of the data that's available when I started at Amazon all the way to the present, there's a lot of things that have been added. And I would definitely get that question a lot from all sorts of businesses. How do we break this up between the day? Like, is there a way to automatically turn off our campaigns? Can we turn them back on?
Yeah.
And at that time, you would just have to go in and manually do that. And for a mom and pop shop that has 10 campaigns, sure, by all means. For a business that has 150 campaigns running, it's going to be a little bit more difficult and arguably not worth it. And so I'd say things like, for these Amazon search ads that are running, you're only paying when someone clicks, and if someone clicks, they're showing interest. So by all means, you just want to keep it running all the time.
Yeah.
And as time has progressed, there's been some tools that have helped with that. I think a lot of brands have probably used their audience insights tool, which will break it up by day, and that's really helpful in a way, but it is organic data. It's not a marketing focused data, organic sales, things like that. And it can show you, day by day throughout the week and the month what kind of traction you're getting. But it's very high level. You can't get granular at all. And so what we've seen with Amazon Marketing Stream is once we have that data, we see that there's a huge difference. Sometimes it's not as big. Sometimes it's pretty mild. But other times it's a really big difference between even just hours of the day. And based on not just sales, but based on efficiency as well. I said that example of if someone's clicking, they're going to the page, and that's great. You want that. But now we can see that maybe from 8 a.m. to 10 p.m. you might have people clicking, but that click is not worth the cost that you're paying.
Yeah.
They're not converting. And really what you want to have is the bids high enough to capture the clicks that are from, say, like 4 p.m. to 7 p.m., for example, because those people are converting. And that's, among many, that's a big deal for small, medium, big businesses. And that's why Amazon Marketing Streams, I think, is going to help a lot.
Have you noticed, since you guys have had access to the data actually longer than Helium 10, like we just now integrating this for our Atomic tool, but are there any, I know there, again, guys, whenever I say something, it's not a one size fits all or something. It depends, as you said, on categories and things like that. But are there any generalities that you have, now that you've had access to this data, that you could say, like, for the most part, Friday's a terrible day, for PPC, or weekends like have incredible low ACOS, or middle of the night is absolutely amazing. Like are there any general statements you can make?
I think one that pops out in my head right away is, and something we may not think about sometimes, is we have to remember that a lot of people are on a biweekly pay schedule. And so they get paid, usually, sometimes it overlaps, but usually twice a month, usually on a Friday. Maybe you get a little bit earlier from your bank on a Thursday. but that's a very clear indicator of when you're going to have maybe more traffic and certainly more sales, and that's an example of something Amazon marketing streams can see, because you may approach your business on a weekly basis, and you may weekly or daily, and you may know that, say, people get done working maybe in the evening, you're seeing better efficiency, better sales, things like that. And you may react to that accordingly by raising bids or increasing your budgets.
Mm-hmm.
But I think what this data showed in this example is that you do also get a pretty big jump on payday as well, and that can sometimes be bigger by category. A category that has higher priced items, maybe furniture. Maybe that $1,000 couch isn't going to be like a payday purchase, but in a grocery category or CPG with lower prices, that someone's been saving up a little bit for that $100 item, that can be a big change from earlier in the week to later in the week on that payday week as well.
Okay, I mean, obviously we don't give out private customer information on here, or people who don't want their info being shared, but are there any examples where you can just tell us like an experience in the last couple of months that you've had where like a customer started utilizing this information, and because of this they were able to lower their total A costs or ROAS or any of these things? Like any cool stories stick out in your mind?
I can say that utilizing this information, like a lot of things in Amazon marketing or marketing in general, we try to make incremental changes over time, and so it's not like we took Amazon marketing stream, implemented, and then all of a sudden we just increased a business's weekly sales by 150%. But I'll say for sure that using Amazon marketing stream as a guide for a client that I'm familiar with, we were able to focus their efforts, and by efforts I mean their budgets and their higher bids, both on a daily basis, where we were seeing more traction both in the morning and in the evening, not as much in the middle of the day. And then also because they are a type of product that has a lot of subscribe and save customers, they usually need to be refilled every 3 to 4 weeks. So we're able to kind of focus on when those subscribe and save customers are coming back, and then also utilize that data to see how can we expand on that and bring in more customers as well. Because if you have subscribe and save customers coming back to your brand to refill, you're also going to know that you're going to have other customers needing to refill from competitors, whether they're subscribe and saving to competitor products or just need to refill that product that they need for on a monthly basis as well. So that's one example of ways that we've used it. It's
Interesting.
Allowed us to increase that efficiency for certain products, not necessarily making a huge sales increase, but allowing us to continue to build sales while doing so with a lower cost per click and just an overall more efficient strategy.
Okay, so in general, like I said, PackView has had this for months, whereas Helium 10 just started this. But what is available on the visibility side in PackView? Like if I'm running PackView, I have it connected to my Seller Central vendor account. What can I now see, with this marketing stream connection? And then what are the actionable things that I can like program in? Do I then like program in when I want a budget to be increased, or do you have the ability to actually say, hey, turn off my campaign at a certain time of day or day of week? Like, what are the things I can view and actually do inside of PackView with this?
Yeah, so this is kind of the part that I'm most excited about, just because having been in this e-commerce world for a while, having this tool available is just a night and day difference. And within PackView, there's kind of two ways that you can use it right now. At this time, it's focused just on sponsored product campaigns, and you can go into a specific campaign and you can get a snapshot of the Amazon marketing stream data right in the PackView tool. You don't need to switch back out, go to the Amazon API. You don't need to know any complicated, I guess, or fill out like any complicated structure, no like any sort of SQL like a lot of people needed for AMC, things like that. You go right into the tool, you see a snapshot of the Amazon marketing stream data, and then what you can do is press a toggle and be able to apply that marketing stream data directly to that campaign. So you can see a percentage for every hour of every day in that week where you should be increasing or decreasing bids. You can base that on either CPC, ROAS, ACOS, obviously the inverse of ROAS, etc. And then you can press one button and implement it for that campaign. So not only is it a really effective tool on its own, Amazon Marketing Stream, but the way that we integrate into PackView is that we make it as simple as possible to take that campaign data, apply the marketing stream data, and then implement those changes right away. So you can use it in that way and implement one button there, or you can use it in a more advisory capacity. And if, say, you have a campaign that does a lot of volume and spend and sales, you can take a look at that Amazon Marketing Stream data and then use it as a guide for other campaigns that maybe are newer or have a brand new product in it that you need to get ramped up, but also do so efficiently.
All right, so that's AMS, Amazon Marketing Stream. You know, in LinkedIn, sometimes there's other little acronyms in there, and one I literally have zero knowledge about is AMC, which, you know, to me, that I swear that's like the movie theater chain that I usually watch my movies in, AMC. But in Amazon, what does AMC stand for, and what? Give me the some education about it, because I know 0% about it.
Yeah, and you're right. It's not the theater. It's not a stock that you wanted to buy mid-year last year either. For those interested in that kind of thing, no, it stands for Amazon Marketing Cloud. It's a really great evaluative tool to understand how your full funnel marketing is working. And so we just talked a little bit about Amazon Marketing Stream, and that's a really effective way to make your search ads, specifically right now, also your sponsored product ads, more effective based on whatever metric you want to be looking at. And that's a really bottom of the funnel type strategy, a way to, after a shopper gets all the way to that almost point of conversion, to make that conversion more efficient and make it happen. What Amazon Marketing Cloud is kind of a way to zoom out and look at the marketing that you're doing across the entire funnel. So it can differ between the size of the business, but for larger businesses especially, you're going to have a dedicated search strategy. You're going to have a dedicated Amazon DSP, demand side platform strategy, which is on and off Amazon. And you're going to have a dedicated as well, most of the time, streaming TV strategy. So you're going to be showing or building that awareness for the brand at a high level to people that are not necessarily currently shopping for the brand, might just be interested in the type of product that you sell, and then you're going to try to get them onto Amazon and then eventually to purchase your product, become a loyal customer. One thing that has always been a challenge in the past, and to be honest, is still a challenge, but AMC helps a lot with, is understanding how effectively you're bringing those people from the point of not knowing about your brand to the point where they're purchasing the product from your brand. And that's one of the main things that AMC helps do, is visualize that for you, understand where you're not being effective, where you're being effective, allowing you to consolidate budget where it's having more of an impact, and then being able to show you the effects of those changes over time. And this is just not something that was easy to figure out in the past. AMC is relatively new, so a lot of brands might not be as familiar with it, and it's still fairly difficult to use in some cases. I know if you're trying to work with it directly from Amazon, you have to have some SQL skill. Therefore, I would not be able to use it that way because I am not a SQL person. I know, and I don't know about any other players in the space, but I know at PackView, we've actually created a really effective UI that can visualize the entire full funnel process and give you the data from AMC in a really digestible way. So it's a great way to just kind of get a 30,000 foot view of your business and see, what places are you missing? Because you can have what you consider a bulletproof strategy at any time, and even those strategies are going to have places that you can improve, no matter what. This whole space is changing too fast. There's too many variables. You have different competitors vying for your share of that search result page or your share of the category as a whole. And so understanding that full funnel process and where you sit in it and how effective it's being is just an amazing tool for brands. Seller or vendor, it doesn't matter for that whole thing.
Switching gears a little bit, we've been talking exclusively about Amazon, but PackView obviously helps tons of sellers with advertising on Walmart and other platforms. What's some wins that you see from people who are taking more of an omni-channel advertising approach, as opposed to 100% of my advertising budget's just going into Amazon?
Yeah, I think, and I can speak to this generally because as of right now at PackView, my experience is Amazon. I've been focusing mostly on Amazon itself, but I can say a lot of the same tools on PackView that we use for Amazon are being used for Walmart and Instacart, things like that. Walmart specifically doesn't have the same type of Amazon marketing stream. Data is set up in the same way, but you still do get hourly data. So you are able to look at the hourly sales, hourly efficiencies, things like that, and apply those learnings in the same way. So what you have across the board is brands able to use this information and then apply that information to that campaign or campaigns on a small or large scale. And I think the moral of the story here is that with Amazon, with Walmart, which has made crazy advances in their whole ad ecosystem within the last 1 to 2 years, they're all kind of competing to offer more data to the sellers on their websites. And this is allowing the seller to really benefit from that competition and be able to have this data and make more informed decisions as well.
Now, how does somebody go about budgeting though? Should it be, let's say I am selling on Amazon, I am selling on Walmart, maybe I'm selling on, what else do you guys do? Like Kroger, Instacart, whatever. Should budget always be tied to my revenue? All right, hey, 80% of my gross revenue is coming from Amazon. I'm going to put 80% of my marketing budget there, and then it's a 1-to-1, or not a 1-to-1 basis, but a relative basis where I put my 5% of my budget or 5% of my sales is coming from Walmart, so 5% of my advertising, or are there other use cases where it's I need to put more money into this platform because I think I can grow faster? How do I decide where I'm throwing my marketing dollars?
Yeah, I think, and that's a really great question as brands expand to all these different platforms, whereas a lot of brands in the past would have just been centered solely on Amazon, and that would have been a very easy question to answer. I think they should never feel locked into having budget set in a certain place. I think brands always need to be flexible in terms of where they're putting that budget, and also evaluate, what amount of your sales are marketing attributed, what amount of your sales are organic. A brand that is trying to break into Walmart for the first time, you're gonna need budget there to be able to drive traction, drive relevance for your products. And at the same time, if that same brand has been on Amazon for, say, 8 years and has cemented their place in a certain category, their organic share or organic sales percentage may be a lot higher than it was, say, 6 years ago when they really had to invest a lot more in their advertising. So I think it depends on how built up their brand is for each platform, and if they're trying to grow on certain other platforms, then they need to decide, maybe I do need to allocate more budget to that as well. I think kind of the the infancy of a brand on certain platforms is something to think about, and how fast and how much they want to grow. I think the capabilities of the ad types themselves is also something to consider, and how much they are weighing driving sales, bringing in new customers, or simply raising awareness. Say we're comparing Walmart and Amazon. You have two totally completely different beasts, really, which is no fault of Walmart. They're just getting their ad business going the last couple of years. Amazon has had a lot more time, but Walmart's going to be a lot lower funnel than Amazon is. A lot more on the site or on the app, on your mobile site, really looking for the products and then purchasing. Amazon has a better ability to accomplish upper funnel goals when it comes to the demand side DSP platform that they have, and also streaming TV. If you've been on Amazon, whether it was this latest Prime Day the last couple days, or any time probably within this year, you've probably seen them promoting the heck out of Thursday Night Football.
It's crazy. Like, you go to Amazon.com on a Thursday, and the entire splash screen is all whatever teams are playing.
Yeah, you're gonna see it. That's for sure. And because they poured a lot of time and money into building that Thursday Night Football, and with that, their whole streaming service, and you're able to reach people on that streaming service with your brand based on the same type of audience insights, audience information that you would use to reach them, say, on the internet as well. And so that's just an example of a way that, if we're talking about brand awareness, upper funnel, you're going to want to allocate more budget to tools like that. If that's not as much of a worry, maybe you're a smaller business, you don't have the budget for those big brand awareness pushes, then you won't have to worry about that, and maybe it can be more even. Another very long answer that comes down to it depends, unfortunately, but I'd say that it's reliant on the goals, and either way, at the end of the day, a brand needs to be flexible, and they need to understand that Walmart, Instacart, places like that have been growing really fast, and it's kind of like when Amazon was starting out with their ads. You don't want to ignore it. You want to make sure you stay competitive as much as your budget allows.
Crystal ball or maybe not crystal ball. A lot of this stuff has happened. Amazon is opening up more channels of where you can advertise, DSP and other things, and advertising on like streaming TV and things like that. As a bigger Amazon seller, or even small one, trying to plan ahead on where I'm going to be advertising, like, how do I make that decision, like what I need to do? Like, obviously everybody almost needs to do regular sponsored products, sponsored brand ads, sponsored display in many situations. But once you start getting up to these other levels, like, hey, I'm a $10 million seller, I should be getting DSP. But now the question is, there's so many channels where Amazon is now allowing me to advertise for. What are some of the main ones you think are going to give you sellers the best bang for the buck?
At the very least, I think about it this way. At the very least, consider your search ads, your sponsored product, sponsored brand, sponsored display, sponsored brand video. That is your net at the end of the day. When there was nothing else going on with Amazon ads, that's what you could focus on, and that was the entire ecosystem. It's grown, it's evolved, it's a little more complicated now. Now you need to fill the net, and you do that by starting off. And of course, it's not a blanket recommendation for everyone, but you do that really by starting off with some straightforward DSP marketing. And what that DSP, for those that aren't familiar, what that DSP allows you is to go off of Amazon based on audience information, and bring those potential shoppers that haven't purchased your brand, or maybe were browsing the category, and bring them back to your brand. Because, and I'm kind of going back to the Amazon days with the spiel that I think I said 1,000 times at least, but no one buys first time. It takes multiple visits to a detail page. It takes multiple visits to a product before a person purchases. And during those visits, your product is competing against every other competitor's product in that category while that person is at that research stage of their journey. And so the more you show your product to them after they go off Amazon, the more likely they are to come back onto Amazon and purchase from your brand. And you do that really effectively through Amazon DSP. And to be clear, Amazon DSP and things like streaming TV, they use a lot of the similar, a lot of similar information to accomplish their goal. It is audience based targeting. So you can either retarget off people that have looked at your brand, looked at competitors, or say, for example, I have this huge water bottle next to me, the Stanley water bottle. If I am in market for a water bottle, that DSP will allow you to proactively and reach out to those people. And you can also do that at a streaming TV level, but with much less likelihood that person will purchase, because people sitting on a couch watching and streaming TV are less likely to purchase than when they're on their computer and seeing.
I mean, who knows? You never thought that on Thursday Night Football you would see an ad for, collagen peptides or your Amazon product on it. So the possibilities are endless, guys. For Amazon sellers out there, yeah, you probably have to be a larger seller, to be able to qualify to pay for that. But that, I mean, regardless if you're a small or large seller, unless you're a huge Procter and Gamble brand, you weren't thinking about being on football games, advertising. But Amazon's kind of changing the game here. All right, then. Well, you've been giving us, some great insights and strategies throughout this episode. But something we always do at the end of each episode is ask for our TST, 30-second tip. So is there a quick hitting, highly actionable, 30-second to a minute, tip or strategy? It could be about Walmart advertising, Amazon advertising, how to use Marketing Stream, how to use PackView, how to get on page one, about anything you possibly want.
Yeah, I'd say the one most important thing that I'd recommend to people is that it's easy to get stuck in the day-to-day of marketing on Amazon, Walmart, Instacart, and going through the motions. There's a million other things to worry about. I'd say every once in a while, as often as possible, really, try to audit your entire ad strategy. Question it, not to say that it's wrong. Question it, evaluate, how it's performing, and more importantly, evaluate what tools are you using to make it better. Amazon Marketing Stream is one of those tools I would highly recommend utilizing as soon as possible if you're not already taking a look at it. But there's always a part of your campaigns, a part of your strategy that you can improve. And this is one of those tools, along with AMC as well. But I'd say Amazon Marketing Stream, use it. It's great data. Any other reports, if you use the Amazon API, any other brand insights, which are also available in the Amazon API, use that data. It may not change a lot for your business. It may change a ton for it.
Okay. All right. Well, thank you for coming on here. But if people want to reach out to you to, get more information, or perhaps, if they're pretty serious about their advertising, they're not a brand new seller. I know you guys, deal with, mainly people like doing like high 6 figures, 7 figures, 8 figures, etc. How can they find you out there on the interwebs? How can they, book a call with PackView, etc.?
Yeah, so they can go to our website. They can request a demo. I'm, of course, on LinkedIn. If you want to talk to me, I feel like I'm pretty personable. So by all means, feel free to reach out, and I can get you to the right person to help you, start that process, start that journey to improving your business. Everything that we've talked about today, Marketing Stream, AMC, technically available through your API in one form or another. The great thing about PackView is it's all consolidated into one place, and it's all made to be, extremely functional for a person that doesn't have hours and hours every day to focus on these kind of things, and also, needs to run a business as well.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for joining us, and we'll maybe, reach out to you in a year or so to see what's new with Amazon advertising.